Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The reason why the American government would tell Americans there to leave is that they can't afford not to tell people not to congregate around the entrances to the airfield. What else are they supposed to say? The challenge for people on the ground is you've got the Americans saying there's a potential physical threat at the airport, but if I go home, there's a potential threat from the Taliban coming after my family. The people at the airport have no good options, and nor do we.
Phil Mudd right there. That's right. Yesterday came out, not only our intelligence, but several others saying that ISIS may hit an airport looking to do damage. Why? Groups of people, large swaths of people, chance to kill a bunch of people they see as evil and bad, infidels. So what do you do? Honestly, what do you do? What do you do at that point? I don't know. I mean, people are trying to find other ways out. This is a giant mess, an absolute debacle. We've been talking about that. I still think we're going to get all of our people out of there. But the reality is you're now stuck in a situation where you've got two groups, A, that don't like each other. And the B card, which the one you're holding, is none of them like you. So you're stuck between a rock, the airport, a hard place, your home with potential death there. What do you do?
If you can extend the deadline and get people out, I don't care what we told the Taliban. These are people who go into soccer stadiums and assassinate people for doing things like stealing. Taliban holds the cards. They can go after the people who are affiliated with us and slit their throats. They can go after American citizens and slit their throats if we don't leave, and they have done that. So what's your choices? Extend the deadline and risk people's lives, or say we're going to get 100, 110, 120,000 people out, and we're going to save American servicemen by leaving on time?
Phil.
No good choices.
No good choice. No good choice. There isn't any good choice at this point in time. People are pissed. People are angry. People are upset. They feel like what? No communication. That's so part of the world of business, of life, is communication. We don't communicate well now. That's why we fight all the time, because nobody can, first of all, nobody wants to hear the other side's opinion. And secondly, we don't actually listen to what the other side has to say. But communication is vitally important. What don't we have right now?
We're stranded at home. We can't get to the airport. When we try to get to the airport, we either get beaten up or we're afraid for our lives. For 4 days, 4 days, we didn't hear anything from anywhere. And then they're saying to go to the airport, but we're not being given clear guidance. They're saying one thing, and then the next thing they come and say something else. So you really exactly don't know what to do. There's a lot of miscommunication going on.
And that's frustrating. Hey, stand here, but come. Go over there, but stay right here. Please come on. Let's go quick, but everybody stop. That's what people feel like. And I don't care what Jen Psaki says.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home. And I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
Okay, right? First of all, he didn't say that. You made it seem like old Ducey there from Fox that he's asking a question that somehow that nobody else in the room wanted to ask. So there's no Americans? You're reaching out to them in every way, shape, or form?
No, your emails are getting ignored. Or, I mean, imagine being stranded in a situation like this and not receiving anything for 3-4 days from the U.S. Embassy or the State Department.
Yeah. I don't think any of us is buying it. It is nasty and it is ugly and it has potential to get much, much worse. And think about this for a second. I think we're going to get most of the people out. There's still going to be some people left behind. That's the reality. Ambassador Ross Wilson.
There undoubtedly will be people in this country who would like to get out who will be unable to.
And that's scary. That is scary. I do think we're going to get a majority of, if not all of our people out. But I've said since the beginning of this nightmare that I worry more about the Afghan people that helped us. I worried more about the Afghan people who knew at that moment in time that when they decided to feed us information, to work with us, even to do something as just translation, they were going to pay the price. They were going to pay the price. And we're going to leave many of them behind, knowing full well what was coming, knowing full well what was going to be the end game once we left there. It's not hard to see. It wasn't hard to see. Yet, all that being said, it's a disaster, and it lands where? At the feet of the president. And yesterday, his kind of giggles about some of the stuff, and they shut his mic off quick. You're just sitting there shaking your head going, you know what? What are you going to do at this point? We'll see. But I don't think they're going to kill any of our people. But you never know. ISIS, I don't think I have a problem with it. I think Taliban, at this point, isn't going to have a problem with. Now, capture some of our people after the 31st. Hold them hostage, if you will. Maybe. Killing them, I don't think, because the reality is they want to have this look on the world stage. ISIS, whole nother story. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope you guys are doing well. All that being said, we've got our own battle going on here, and that is to mask, not to mask. Now to mandate, not to mandate. United yesterday comes out and says, yeah, well, you don't have to get a vaccine, but
United becoming the first major airline to tell its employees, at least those who are based here in the United States, you either need to be vaccinated or you will not be with this company much longer. Here's the vaccine mandate that United is announcing today. It's for all U.S.-based employees. The deadline, late September, early October. It partially depends on when the FDA does full approval on some of the vaccines that are out there. If that doesn't happen, then the date might slide into early October.
Yeah. Vaccinated or else. Vaccinated or else. Delta, on the other hand, said, you know what? Don't worry about a vaccine, because if you don't get one, we're going to do something else to you.
The interesting approach that Delta is taking. We've seen this from airlines deciding how are they going to get more employees vaccinated. Now Delta is saying if you're not vaccinated by November 1st, it will cost you. So here is the mandate, if you will, from Delta. November 1st is the deadline. Unvaccinated workers will be hit with a surcharge, a monthly $200 surcharge on their health insurance if they are not vaccinated.
Yeah. So one is taking the approach, get it or else you're done. The other one is saying, get it, but if you don't, it's going to cost you.
In announcing the new policy, Delta CEO Ed Bastian said the average hospital stay for COVID-19 has cost Delta $50,000 per person. This surcharge will be necessary to address the financial risk the decision to not vaccinate is creating for our company. You take a look at shares of Delta, keep in mind that 75% of the employees are already vaccinated. What about the other 25%? That comes out to about 17,000, 18,000 employees not vaccinated. So they've got 75,000 employees. The goal is to get as close to having complete vaccination for all employees, and that's why Delta is taking this approach.
Yeah. So, two airlines taking a different approach, but both of them essentially doing everything they can to mandate the vaccine. We get into that weird question that we're going to talk about throughout the day. It's like, where does it end? What are the real religious exemptions? What are the real disability exemptions? Are you going to even accept that? A lot of doctors will not sign the exemptions right now. We're hearing more and more about that, where they're like, you know what? I'm not going to do it, even though you had a bad time, or even though this, or, and this could happen. The reality is that I'm not going to sign that, because everybody's worried about what? Being sued. So the frustration level is through the roof. And then you got the businesses that are in a really tough position, because businesses in parts of the country and parts of the world, Sao Paulo, Brazil, has mandates now. You're vaccinated to go into stores, into the supermarket, into the shopping malls. And they're building almost a two-tiered system. And unlike us, parts of the globe, it's not being given out for free. It's tough to get if you're in a poorer area. Where here, it's here for everyone. And so the battle is beginning. And I've said this, the mask mandate is slowly, surely. That's the kids. That's the kids thing. The mask mandate is going to be replaced by the vaccine mandate as the next battleground. And this one's going to get ugly. And if you're a business and you want to sell your widget and you're looking over there, and what do you see? You got to make a decision. I don't want to mandate people who be vaccinated to come into my place. I want to mandate my employees, but then I'm having trouble finding employees. And if some of them are resistant, and they may push off, and then I've got this, and then all of a sudden politics is being brought into it because you may be apolitical, but the reality is people are going to view you in such a way that, and now you're going to lose half your patrons potentially. It is a frustrating thing. All you want to do is sell your widget. It's a tough place to be. It is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. We'll talk a little OnlyFans in a minute. And I will tell you this, talk about controversy, but quickly changed. We'll touch on that. Kids, Roman, you ready for the summer of Roman? You ready to get Roman ready? You ready to take care of that ED? Go to getroman.com/Chad. Talk to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. With Roman, what do you get? Well, you get a free online evaluation, right? And ongoing care for ED. It's all from the comfort of your home. So you don't have to go anywhere. Licensed U.S. professional. It's a healthcare professional. They're going to do everything right there. You can be Roman ready, confident that you can rise to the occasion. So it is simple and easy. The whole thing is straightforward, so convenient, so discreet. You go to getroman.com/Chad, complete an online visit. And if they say, hey, yeah, we've got a plan for you that will work, free shipping to you, 2-day shipping. Comes in a discreet box, right? It's not like, oh my God, what is, boom, right to you. And then you can get the party started. Go to getroman.com/Chad today. If you're prescribed, 50% off your first month ED treatment. That's getroman.com/Chad. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this summer. Roman ready. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler?
Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is? D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
When I hear that, I think, what is our military going to look like in the future? Well, let's take a look what our military looks like now. This is a female Army recruit. Guess what she was doing during training?
I'm trying to figure out why you have a dang cell phone on freaking Firewatch. Your job, your sole job, is to make sure every other recruit was safe, and you failed that because your phone was more important. Scream I am. I am. No, scream I am. I am. It's not enough, and you will scream back at me. I am. All because you want to check your social media. You put all the recruits at risk. Scream I am. I am. That is no freaking discipline. Scream I am. I am. Don't scream back at me. I am. Get online. Yes, say I am. I am.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta post this. This lady is totally yelling at me. Super sucks. Oh my God, she's like being rude. She's like the most Karen. She's like Sergeant Karen. It's crazy. Different world though. Think about this. It's our military. Like if you go back, right? Everybody's seen Full Metal Jacket. Arlie Emery, just ridiculously brilliant, right? Guy with no acting, This wasn't a guy who studied theater. They're just like, hey, you're an Army guy. And he had done some stuff. And lo and behold, he goes in there. And then you go back and look at Lou Gossett Jr. and the way that he did that role. He got the Academy Award, I believe, for Officer and a Gentleman. And now it's like, I'm taking my phone with me, and I may or may not be able to do this. Right? I don't know. Maybe it's possible, but I don't know. Like, that guy's so on fleek. Do we have to wear these uniforms? Because I did not look good in this. Speaking of looking good, OnlyFans, well, what have you done?
Last week, the popular subscription-based website OnlyFans said it was banning its content creators from being able to post pornography. The content creators, very upset, many of them making a very good living posting adult content on OnlyFans. They argued that the site's popularity was built on their sometimes naked backs. And now OnlyFans has changed its mind. The porn ban has been banned. The company says in a statement that the voices of the creators have been heard. Originally, the company had said the ban was needed because some banks wouldn't do business with them.
Yeah. And why does that matter? Well, like everything, it's a cash flow thing, right? So you're paying out, and then you're getting in later on in a lot of ways. So what they were paying out in certain ways, they were getting in later, so you're always having to kind of have this reserve credit, and you're trying to borrow money, but you're also positioning yourself for what may be a run public. Because at the end of the day, you can make a ton of money. You can become very wealthy. But to get to a point where you go, whoa, a lot of times about going public. Banks aren't big fans of weed and porn. And it might sell. It sells the hell out of it. Let's be real. Sex has always sold. But we're a respectable bank here, and we're not quite sure we'd like to loan you more money. And we're not quite sure what you're doing is above board. All the younger people that are involved in this could get us in trouble and could, come back to us. So, but they heard, they flipped. But people, I'm hearing, all over, I was reading yesterday, the content creators are looking for other things because they don't trust OnlyFans now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Can you explain whether or not it is okay for all 12-year-olds to get the vaccine?
The Pfizer vaccine now has been actually licensed for 15 years of age and older. The 12 to 15-year-old age group is one that is approved emergency use authorization, for which we expect full approval to come in the near days ahead. When we get a bit below that, then the doses are going to start reducing some. The only side effect that those vaccines have had has been a type of inflammation around the heart called myocarditis. It's very, very rare, and it's typically very mild.
Dr. Osterholm there. A lot of people worried about that. Myocarditis. I hear that a lot. Everybody picks out the one or two things that, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I've said this. We've given out a ton of stuff to a bunch of people. I'm one of them has got one. Where are all the deaths? If you give the same amount of people, we've said this for how long? You give the same amount of people aspirin, what do you think will happen? Guess what? He said the same thing.
Not one person, this is an important number, not one person in this country has died as a result of the 185 million people who have received the vaccine. I wish aspirin had a safety profile that good. And so we have to emphasize these vaccines are incredibly safe and they are incredibly effective. And the worst thing you want to do is watch your child in an ICU struggle to make it to the next day.
That's pretty damn good, right? Doesn't mean that we're not going to have fights. And we know this. We're going to have fights. We're going to have fights over everything. We're going to have fights over masks.
I understand, respectfully, people in your profession love having kids in mass. I get it. You guys have taken an editorial position on that, very clear. The data doesn't support it. There's a great article, actually, in New York Magazine, of all places, that went through this 3,000 words, very thorough view of all the evidence and lack of evidence.
Lack of evidence. Lack of evidence. DeSantis there, defying it. People are fighting over it because that's what we do. We fight. We get angry. We yell. We get mad.
We have to stop treating the opposition like they're a legitimate party and start treating them like the death cult they are. Once you are so brainwashed that you'll kill yourselves and your children to make a point, that you'll give up law and order just to see your enemies get hurt and your heroes win, once you're willing to give up democracy and the right to vote to make sure your team stays on top, or don't care about the long-term health of the planet you live on or the species you yourselves are part of, then you are lost. This is not normal. It is a cult, and we have to start dealing with it as such.
And that is why I think we should make sure that they can't vote and that we take away all of their rights as to preserve the world because we know better. Nah. Frustrating. This is what you're dealing with. The absurd. Case in point yesterday. Dripping Springs, Texas. Man was upset. Going to a school board. Why was he upset? You say, well, it's the debate about anyone? Anyone? Children? Schools, masked. Let's go through this again. Children in school, masked. He was very upset. Very upset. His name is James Akers. What did James do? Well, first of all, he describes getting there.
On the way over here, I ran 3 stop signs and 4 red lights. I almost killed somebody out there. But by God, it's my roads too. So I have every right to drive as fast as I want to.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, so he's talking about that. That's what he did. He's trying to make a point here. What else?
At work, they make me wear this jacket. I hate it. They make me wear this shirt and tie. I hate it.
Start stripping down naked. All the way down to the box of briefs.
If you would mind putting your pants back on for a comment, that would be appreciated.
Yeah. It's crazy. He says, he went on to describe like the inconvenience to actually benefit others to prove a point. That was his whole thing. He goes, I don't like the government or any other entity. Just ask my wife telling me what to do. And I'm like, I get what he was trying to do, right? I get what he was trying to do. It's frustrating. We can't have these conversations about what's the best route to take at this moment in time. And the fear, and this is what the people on one side, and it's sad that we say this, the ladies, the opposition side, but one side is willing to give up a lot in hopes that their safety bubble will continue to grow and not realizing that, no, they're turning up the heat and you're the frog in the water and you're acclimating yourself to less and less. And the other side always thinks, even if the water is perfect or cold, that it's always getting turned up. You need both, by the way. You need a balance. You absolutely do. We're all trying to get to the same place, but it's hard to get to the same place when we're all tripping over each other, even though there's enough room to get to the same place together. And this is what you've got. You've got people dropping trowel. You got people, trying to make their points in the most insane ways because that's seems to be the only way anybody notices. Having a conversation about this in a real way doesn't seem to work. Frustrating, yes. Continuing to be frustrating, yes. And will so. And now that we've got the mandates coming in from businesses, private businesses, you watch what happens. I can't go to that restaurant anymore. They're on this side of the aisle. I can't go to that restaurant anymore. They're on that side of the aisle. Do you want to know why people, and look, Michael Jordan said it. Republicans buy shoes too. Why certain stars don't take certain things and run with. LeBron James, if he was loved like Michael Jordan, wouldn't be as loud, I think, as he is now. But he already knows a lot of people don't like him, so he's okay with that. So he takes a bigger stance. Oprah, The Rock, there's always the talk of somebody jumping in to the fray and doing political things. What happens? Half the country's not going to like you. That means half the country's not going to go and watch your movies, buy your books you push, do any of those things. And those are customers. It's the same thing here now with businesses, with neighbors. It's nuts. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Yesterday, if you guys remember, something was taking place when the wackadoo guy that was the Spencer, I think his name's Ellard or whatever. I don't know. He's the little naked boy that's on the cover of the Nirvana album, and he's doing something below those many years later.
It's an iconic album cover for Nirvana's major label debut, Nevermind. A naked baby floating in a pool, a dollar on a fishing line floating near his face, and now the baby from the picture is suing. Spencer Eldon is all grown up and says the picture in question is child pornography. He claims it's damaged him, haunted him, and exploited him for his whole life. He's suing Nirvana and its record labels, including Universal Music Group and the photographer. In the suit, his lawyers write that neither Eldon nor his guardians ever signed a release authorizing the image.
Yeah, the guardians, whoever they were, parents, they got $200 for it. They never signed a release. Now, if I talked to a legal expert that was actually filling in for one of our hosts here, and he goes, you can maybe argue that they didn't know that they were going to use this as an album cover and try to do something like that. Maybe. The child porn thing, no. He goes, come on, that's ridiculous. And it got me thinking, I don't know if you guys saw Bill Maher over the weekend was talking about something that was absolutely spot on. Apple's doing something where, well, quite frankly, it's scary, right? But they're doing it, and when you do stuff, remember, people think, well, I can just reach out. I'm doing something that's for the good of everybody, so I have every right to invade your privacy and do whatever I want because it's for the better of all.
Apple needs to think different about our privacy. Apple is releasing an update that will allow them to hack into your phone without your consent, to snoop through all your pictures just in case you're a pedophile. Now, let me be clear. I'm against pedophilia. But nosing through everybody's private photo stash is casting an awfully wide, intrusive net. It's like if the company that sold you a safe said, oh, and we're going to stop by sometimes when you're not home to make sure you're not keeping naked pictures of kids in it. Our phones should be like our wallets or purses.
Yes. He's absolutely spot on. It is a scary thought that Apple's going to be digging through all of your stuff. Scary thought. Well, Chad, they're looking for child porn. I know. Child porn's awful. Trust me. I know. I support the death penalty in very few things because I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money. When you do something to a child, I got zero problems burying you deep in the most heinous way possible. But I value my privacy. I value my privacy. We've got some amendments out there that are supposed to protect it. But whatever reason, tech thinks they can kind of do whatever the hell they want. And they're already doing way too much anyways.
What about probable cause? What about the Fourth Amendment? This is the very definition of unreasonable search and seizure, which can and will be abused to find evidence of other illegal stuff on our phones. Now, again, I think child pornography is bad, but it's also not a trump card you can pull out that makes all our other rights disappear. We're so dependent on smartphones now that we will let them do anything to us.
Yeah. And the scary thing is again, it starts here like everything does, under the guise of we're doing something good, but it never ends there. And having the access to go and search, which we're already worried about, this isn't like, back in my day growing up, and you take your thing to the photo mat and stuff, and every once in a while, and somebody's got your film and they're looking through it and stuff. And no, people would freak out about that. This is something totally different. Going through every single thing. Think about if you're famous. Who gets to look into these things? Who gets to do any of these things? I'm curious. This is one of the reasons I look at Apple and I think, I love your products, but I don't trust you.
People have always freaked out about the latest technology corrupting young minds. Come on. They said it about radio and the telephone and TV. I don't remember lugging a TV under my covers so I could watch Huckleberry Hound until the screen asked me, "Are you still watching?" I liked McHale's Navy. I wasn't addicted to it. I didn't watch it when I drove. Smartphone, less like TV or radio, more like a pacemaker. You know, something you can't live without. No other device has ever commanded our constant attention the way the smartphone does.
Yeah, and that's true. And it's scary because these things are our computers. Our lives are on there. I've got two phones. One's a business phone. The other's my personal phone. And I'm always doing something, right? And it's frustrating and it drives me crazy. And we got a guy here that's, he's a bit older. He's got a flip phone. He used to have a smartphone. Now, he's semi-retired. He works part-time. Guy was a big-time TV announcer. He did like Michael Jordan's first, NBA game. And this guy, he was on ESPN for years and stuff. And he goes, I got rid of it. The minute I didn't have to be tied to it, I got a flip phone. And I'm like, God, that's awesome. But the scary thing about going into our phones is terrifying. And every single parent has a picture of you on the potty, of you in the bathtub, of you running naked through sprinklers. Is that going to be the new thing now? Because that's going to be scary. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. MyPillow has the best sheets in the world. Giza Dream Sheets. Sleep amazing. The hotel I stay at a couple nights a week when I'm in town, and I just don't want to make the drive early in the morning. They have nice sheets. They're really nice sheets. But, man, when I go home, my Giza Dream Sheets are amazing. So it's long staple cotton, grown in a small little area, right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the Mediterranean, Sahara Desert, and the Nile. And it is incredible. Super soft, super breathable. You're going to sleep cool and comfortable. And it's like a sateen finish, so you slide right on it. You will love these sheets. 60-day money-back guarantee, 1-year warranty, tons of sizes and colors. Get what you get and get as much as you can because they're only $49.99. Normally, they're $110. You're saving huge amounts of money. Save big right now. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Take advantage of all of the other massive deals at MyPillow. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Explosion at Kabul airport. Again, people were being warned. There was a chance that terror attacks were going to happen, and you've got two factions here. The first faction is the Taliban, obviously. And the second faction is ISIS-K that said that people were getting reports over the last 24 hours that they were planning something, and really over the last 18 hours or so, that the airports were going to be a target. What does it mean? Again, this is going to be an ongoing thing for the next several days. Taliban, I don't think, wants to do anything as to potentially kill a bunch of troops, which will piss Americans off. Remember, we're a very fickle nation. We are. You kill a bunch of troops and a bunch of innocent people and we see it, Americans, maybe we need to go back in there. Is this the guy to do it? No. It's a hot mess. We want to get out of there. And by going back in there, we go back in there, we calm things down, we get everybody out the way it should have been. In saying that, you look around and you realize what a giant mess this is, and it lands at the feet of the president, who could have made this thing so much simpler. It was never going to be perfect and easy. It was never going to be something that was going to be 100% smooth. But instead of trying to evacuate tens of thousands and 100,000 plus of people, Afghans, United States, allies, all citizens, instead of doing that, this chaos could have been a smaller group of people that would have been easier to protect and coordinate than what's going on now. That's the frustration that people are feeling. And I don't think the Taliban wants to put us in a position where they think, oh my God, they're going to come back in. They're going to put more boots on the ground. They're going to try to do some stuff. This is probably ISIS-K that's more interested in causing hell and havoc and killing infidels than Taliban wanting them to get the hell out of Dodge, us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. And this will be something that I'm sure over the next couple days we'll be hearing. And now that the world's eyes are on Afghanistan in ways that, it wasn't outside of what took place early on in the Soviet-Afghani war and early on with us, the world's going to be looking over the next couple months to see what takes place. People are more aware. People understand it more. And it is a hornet's nest. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yep, bomb explosion at the airport in Afghanistan. Suicide attack outside of the Karzai airport. Yesterday, we touched on a little bit because words were spreading throughout parts of Afghanistan that our intelligence agencies, as well as several other intelligence agencies, were picking up that ISIS-K, not Taliban, was planning and plotting something big. Well, what do you have there? You have a large group of people trying to get into the airport so they can get the hell out of Dodge. The Americans were being warned yesterday, stay home.
We're stranded at home. We can't get to the airport. When we try to get to the airport, we either get beaten up or we're afraid for our lives. For 4 days, 4 days, we didn't hear anything from anywhere. And then they're saying to go to the airport, but we're not being given clear guidance. They're saying one thing, and then the next thing they come and say something else. So you really exactly don't know what to do. There's a lot of miscommunication going on.
Yes. Lots of miscommunication. The options were always bad. Go back to the movie Argo, right? Do you have any more bad plans? No, sir. This is our best bad plan, essentially. We have done a lot of this to ourselves. We've shot ourselves in the foot. And people are going to look at us, the United States. What are you going to do if this thing gets out of hand? What are you going to do if ISIS flares up and starts killing people in the streets, starts blowing up things, starts attacking innocent men and women? What are you going to do if they start killing American soldiers and American civilians trying to get the hell out of there?
The reason why the American government would tell Americans there to leave is that they can't afford not to tell people not to congregate around the entrances to the airfield. What else are they supposed to say? The challenge for people on the ground is you've got the Americans saying there's a potential physical threat at the airport, but if I go home, there's a potential threat from the Taliban coming after my family. The people at the airport have no good options, and nor do we.
No good options is the best way to describe this. No good options. It is a nightmare, and it is going to be worse and worse in the coming days. Remember, you've got two factions here, the Taliban and ISIS-K. ISIS-K wants to establish their own country, essentially. The Taliban want Afghanistan for themselves. If ISIS stays, you're basically going to be under the rule of the Taliban. You guys might agree on 99% of stuff, but the final say for something will go to them. They want no part of that. Especially when it comes to exporting stuff like terror, because they don't want the rest of the world coming back in to their country. It is ugly indeed. And the Americans we look stupid at this point in time. We look absolutely, somebody asked me, how did this happen? This happened because there was no planning. This happened because the thought is we were like a kid overnight that had to study for the biggest test of their life and had done no studying, hadn't paid too much attention in class, and now is trying to drink out of a fire hose, and you have to capture every drop. It's not going to happen. It was always going to be messy in certain places. No matter how good we did, there was always going to be opportunities where some of these things could come off the rails fast. But right now, ugly.
If you can extend the deadline and get people out, I don't care what we told the Taliban. These are people who go into soccer stadiums and assassinate people for doing things like stealing. Taliban holds the cards. They can go after the people who are affiliated with us and slit their throats. They can go after American citizens and slit their throats if we don't leave, and they have done that. So what's your choices? Extend the deadline and risk people's lives, or say we're going to get 100, 110, 120,000 people out, and we're going to save American servicemen by leaving on time? Phil. No good choices?
No good choices. There isn't. This is the best bad idea because these are the cards that we dealt ourselves. That's the reality of this. That's the frustration of this. Now the question is, what happens from here? Afghanis injured. I'm sure there's going to be more coming out of this. And this probably will not be the last we hear about this nightmare. But again, it is a nightmare.
Kirby has just tweeted they can confirm an explosion outside the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. Casualties are unclear at this time. The Pentagon says they will provide additional details when they are available. Overnight, there was a new warning to Americans and others to stay away from the Kabul airport for fear of a terrorist attack. It was called a credible threat, and that is why they had to issue the report. Again, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby confirming there has been an explosion outside the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. As of now, casualties are unclear.
Yeah. They're saying Afghanis are injured, and it was a suicide car bomb. Ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. We'll see what happens from here. The next move is the president's. All that being said, we're also moving to a point where we're continuing our fight here in the United States and globally with, are you guys ready for it? This thing called the coronavirus, which doesn't ever seem to be going anywhere. Now the question is, are you going to get the booster? Are you going to get a booster? Have you thought about a booster? Are you going to? Yeah. I don't know. Again, I look at this. I've got both my shots, and I've had it. Am I running out to get a booster on the 20th? Probably not. And to me, it's not a booster. It's just another shot. That's kind of what it is. It's another shot that will add a layer of protection and not getting really, really sick. That's kind of what this is. So look at it and stop looking at it as a vaccine. Again, we go back to our mind. Vaccine, polio. Take a vaccine, don't get polio. Take it once, never have to worry again. Think of it like the flu shot. We never say it's the flu vaccine. We always say, are you getting the flu shot? Because, next year you're going to have to do what? Get the flu shot. But we've been trained because we've heard vaccine. Well, vaccine equals all protection. I never have to worry about it. I get a vaccine. I'm never going to have to worry about getting polio, smallpox, things of that nature. Will the booster help?
Durability is kind of one of the end goals here. And there's early thought that, hey, this might push it so that we don't need
another vaccine later on in another 6 months or 8 months, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I think eventually it'll be a thing where maybe you get the shot once a year. Maybe once every couple of years you'll go in, you get a mixture. Hey, it was like the flu shot, this, that, and the other, kind of like to do with it. And boom, away you go. And eventually they'll get to a point where, we'll get to a point where exposure, people that have had it and survived it, booster shot, this, that, and the other, where they've built up enough of the T-cell immunity that even if they get it, it's not going to be as bad as it is now. But that's going to take a while. That's not overnight. Again, the Spanish flu didn't disappear. People just eventually got through everybody. Slowly but surely started to die. The people that survived it had their antibodies and their immune system had strengthened in such a way where it wasn't the factor it once was. And this thing is a factor, and it's still bugging everybody. It's pissing you off. It's pissing me off because we're sitting here talking over things we thought that this year we weren't going to be talking about. 3 months ago, we're like, man, nobody seems to be dying. It seems to be back to normal. We're all going out and doing stuff. Now you got things like Oregon's like, if you go outside, wear a mask. You're like, what? If you go outdoors, wear a mask. No. Regardless of your vaccine status. No. And then you've got the world of denial. I mean, some of the stuff is crazy. I think Dr. Osterholm actually spoke to the Minnesota Vikings the other day because the Vikings have several players that, including their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who is very much he's not an anti-vaxxer, but he's definitely not somebody who wants to be pushed into something and is taking it in a much different way. And for that, he's lost a couple. I think one of the things he did, he worked for a hospital where he was like the face of the hospital, and he's no longer that. And Osterholm went in there and he let him ask people, hey, you guys fire away. And some of the stuff that people talked about, like he said, it was eye-opening. He's like, no, you're not going to be sterile. It's like, you're not going to be impotent, and just walk through so much of the questions that people have. And I understand that people have questions. The thing is, answering the question is one thing. The people asking it, though, are you going to accept the answer? Because if you don't accept the answer, then it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what the doctor says. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you're only going to accept the answer that you've already said in your mind is, I will accept only this answer, then it doesn't matter. If you believe it causes, because everybody, and they all say the same thing. Well, I have a friend. Well, I know somebody. Well, I have somebody I know who, The other days, people sending me all this stuff and, watch this, watch that. And these cheaply made YouTube videos and things of this nature. And you're just like, okay, where's the, I get it. I'm sure the guy's very smart. He looks like he's very smart. But where's the real data and science behind it? If you don't believe it, then the person that is telling you something, and you've asked them, hey, come here, speak to the people. What questions you guys have? Hey, I've heard this. Okay, well, that's not true. Let me show you the data. I don't believe it. Then why'd you ask the question? You already knew the answer that you wanted. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Again, massive explosion in Kabul. Suicide bomber. Afghanis hit. Casualties will probably, God only knows what that's going to look like. No real understanding of who was there, Americans, any of this thing. And the immediate bomb threat, they said, was coming from ISIS-K. There's still about 1,000 Americans that we know of that are still there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Rough Greens makes every single pet food better. In particular, the dogs. Doodle last night jumped up on bed with me, just flopped down next to me, and it was awesome. It's just my little cuddle bug, and I love him. He is just great. I didn't think he would, survive this long. I thought at this time we'd have put him to sleep based on the fact that he was just in so much pain. We started giving him Canine VitaSmart right around beginning of last year. And it is incredible to see the difference. He's happier, he's healthier, he's bouncier. It is an amazing thing to see the change. And it's because of this supplement that goes on top of his food that he loves the taste of it. And in loving the taste of it, it's also giving him things he's lacking in his food. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff. And it is awesome to see the change. You can get your own bag of Canine VitaSmart for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. It is simple and easy. You go to roughgreens.com/Chad, roughgreens.com/Chad. When you do, they're going to send you a bag for free, or you can call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens will make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Well, currently, trending right now is the Kabul airport. Massive explosion. That was not hard. Really, Afghanistan, which is a hot mess. Seems to be getting worse by the second. Other things trending today. Something take your mind off that. National Dog Day, baby. OnlyFans, Nirvana. Rachel Nichols. We'll touch on that in a second. It's craziness. Head on over to Twitter. Again, Kabul's airport. Trending. Just an absolute nightmare. We were warned about it. Absolutely. Everybody knew that something like this could happen. Suicide bomber. Were there any Americans there? Nobody knows. Afghanis, they're saying, probably killed. But it was a suicide bomber in a car. And what you have to see is when they outline it on a map, everything pretty much around the airport is guarded by the Taliban. This was not the Taliban. This was ISIS. The Taliban looks at itself not as terror organization, not as an organization of they look at themselves as a legitimate government. They don't want ISIS there. ISIS wants to be there. They may even share 99% of the goals, but the reality is ISIS wants to run its own thing. The Taliban's like, no, you're not going to run your own thing. This is our thing. So is there going to be issues? Take away us for a second over the coming hours. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, they try something else. Are we going to get to a position here where we're going to see inside of Afghanistan another battle breakout or two with ISIS-K and Taliban? I think that's a possibility. Other things trending. Ron Jeremy indicted on more than 30 counts of sexual assault yesterday. Awful. My goodness me. Just you look at the whole thing. That guy was like, he was everybody knew who he was and all those things. And, all this stuff starts coming out. And again, I go back to it. How long? Why did people wait? But there's safety in numbers. And once the domino fell, people jumped into it fast. And he looks like he's going to be spending forever in jail. Good riddance to bad rubbish. That's for sure. Absolutely got to prove it in court. But, yeah, Lil Nas X is kind of upset because of something that has to do with somebody else's blood. We'll touch on that in a second. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thought, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We saw within the last 24 hours the sheer numbers of people down there, thousands and thousands of people clustered. That's why the U.S. Embassy issued this very specific warning to all U.S. citizens to leave the gate, quote, immediately, to go back home because of this threat. Other European nations, other NATO nations also followed suit, telling all of their citizens to leave the gate.
Yep. And then there was a massive explosion. How many people are killed? How many people are wounded? Were any Americans? Were any of our allies, any European nations? Who was injured?
We don't know very many details at the moment. The little we know is there's been confirmation from Pentagon spokesman John Kirby that there has been an attack. One of our colleagues from another network, Pakistani network, who's in Afghanistan at the moment, says that he had heard from eyewitnesses that it appears there was potentially a suicide attack.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're saying now gunfire everywhere. But people, the last several hours, we knew, and this was not the Taliban. They were worried about ISIS.
We saw within the last 24 hours the sheer numbers of people down there, thousands and thousands of people clustered. That's why the U.S. Embassy issued this very specific warning to all U.S. citizens to leave the gate, quote, immediately, to go back home because of this threat. Other European nations, other NATO nations also followed suit, telling all of their citizens to leave the gate.
It's a debacle. I look at the president and I say, this is a you thing. Again, it was never going to be easy. I'm not here to say that it was ever going to be easy. That was never going to be the case. It could have been easier. It could have been safer. It could have been done in such a way that we wouldn't be in this kind of position where the terror is happening, meaning we've got tens of thousands of people trying to converge on one area. You've got a group in ISIS-K that wants to kill as many people as possible. And then on the other side, you've got the Taliban that wants to enslave as many people as possible and also wants to make sure those people that helped us, those Afghanis, don't get out. It is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. You knew this day was coming, that we were going to eventually leave. You had, for whatever reason, circled it at a certain time and said, now, we moved it to August 31st, but we moved it from May, and you still did nothing. People's visas aren't even ready to roll. People's travel papers aren't ready to roll. There wasn't a planning of bringing in more military to make sure that this could happen. What did you think was going to happen? My God. It should piss you off. 20 years we were there. 20 years. 20 years. 1,000 plus still left there. People are angry and upset. And if you dare ask Jen Psaki and the administration about, hey, some people are worried. And, oh, no, let me scold you.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very...
By the way, if you can't get out, you are stranded. Did I say it was your fault? I did not.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home. And I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
Is that true? Is that true?
No, your emails are getting ignored. Or, imagine being stranded in a situation like this and not receiving anything for 3-4 days from the U.S. Embassy or the State Department.
Yeah. People aren't buying it. You've done a bad job, and it's getting worse. People are angry. People are pissed. And they got every right to be. We look like fools. Now, I still think we're going to get everybody out of there. I don't think anybody's going to die, any Americans. But I since this has happened, I've said over and over again, the frustration I have with the way that this has gone down, the fact that we left them all that equipment, knowing full well that the intelligence was saying, hey, they're going to do this. And we did not prepare to help the 89,000 plus Afghanistan people. So the Afghanis who helped us and their families escape there in a timely fashion, leaving some to basically fend for themselves in a nation where the ISIS crew would love to kill them and the Taliban are going to. That's a us problem. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I found this to be interesting. Here's a perfect example. You know, one of the things a long time ago, I said, do you want to know how you can tell a society is modern? Do you want to know how you can tell a society is modern? It's humor. And we're doing everything we can to take all the humor away. This is an Afghani comic. His name is Nazir Mohammed. You know what he did? He basically just absolutely railed on the Taliban. Never, ever stopped railing on them.
I'm afraid the story we're going to be discussing is not remotely funny. It's appalling and moving and sad and terrible. It's the story of Nazir Mohammed, a comedian who mocked and ridiculed the Taliban. And the Taliban, like all humorless totalitarian regimes, do not like to be mocked. They are in the business of being deadly serious. So they executed Nazir Mohammed, who also went by the name Kashazwan, on TikTok, where he had many followers within and without Afghanistan.
Yeah, he mocked them, knowing full well what would happen, knowing full well what would go on. And the more mature your country is, the more you can laugh at yourself, the more you're like, okay, cool. We laugh at ourselves. Hell, we damn ourselves every day. We're a horrible nation. We're a bad nation. They teach it in school all the time, you know, that everything that this nation was founded on is evil and bad, and nothing ever good has come out of it, and all of these things. And we make fun of ourselves. We make fun of for all the, oh, Trump was evil, the reality is everybody made fun of him all the time. We made fun of him here. No way. We did. The media, all of that stuff. You can get pissed and angry. Still opportunity to do it. This guy, in the face of everything, though, never stopped letting up, even when he was caught.
This is a recording of Kashazwan after his capture by the Taliban. The key point here, he is still telling jokes, still trying to make his captors and the regime they serve feel ridiculous. We can't show you how he gets slapped around and just carries on ridiculing those people who would later be taking his life. According to Human Rights Watch, the comic was executed in Kandahar. Shortly after those pictures were taken, his throat was cut, his body was riddled with bullets, and it was dumped then for his daughters to collect. Such is life in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Such is life. Horrible. The second explosion has been reported, and the State Department is saying that among the people that are injured are Americans. So this is getting ugly, and it's getting ugly fast. It's getting ugly very fast. And see what the White House does. The move is on you. The move is on you. You have the absolute greatest warriors in the history of the world at your disposal. And while we want to get out of there, it should be about getting everybody out of there and getting them out of there safely. And instead, it was just about getting out of there and sticking to this timeline, and I can't change it, and excuse, and it's the last guy's problem, it's the next guy's problem, it's this guy's problem, it's your problem, it's that problem, the Americans who want to leave, it's everybody else's. This is a nightmare. Gunfire, explosions, Afghanis potentially killed in death, and now we're finding out that, yes, Americans are among some of the casualties.
We are hearing from U.S. officials that who confirms to ABC News that the explosion did occur at Abbey Gate. This U.S. official says that they are currently assessing casualty numbers right now, that the situation remains very, very fluid on the ground, that it may be that the situation itself may be ongoing. But for now, we do have confirmation that this was at the Abbey Gate, which is one of the main entrances to the airport.
Horrible. Nightmare. We're dealing with our nightmare here, and think about our nightmare. Our nightmare of the Delta variant and the virus that's running wild right now is puts it all in perspective. Something that we could stop. Went out and actually talked to a doctor and said, hey, is this thing going to be good for me? Yeah, it'll stop you. Will it stop me 100% from getting sick? No, it's not a magic bullet, but it'll make sure that you don't die. But I'm 93 with 12 different comorbidities. Yeah, well, you know what? A stiff breeze may kill you at that point. But it does put it in perspective. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Raycon best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. Wear them as much as I can, whether I'm editing, whether I'm playing some golf, or just sitting here relaxing and listening to music. Love me some yacht rock. Not going to lie to you. I keep saying, you know what? You want to fix Afghanistan? They all need a yacht rock. You start yacht rocking, give them all some Raycons and some yacht rock. See what happens from there. Little Christopher Cross makes you want to not blow stuff up. We should tell them, hey, go to buyraycon.com/Chad. You'll save massive. Normally, you're spending $300 on name brands, and you're paying for a name. The quality, does it matter? You bought the name. That's really what you bought. With these Raycons, best fit, sound quality, design, no stems, no wires, 45-day happiness guarantee. They start under $70. Get yours now. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Save big. The best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
We saw within the last 24 hours the sheer numbers of people down there, thousands and thousands of people clustered. That's why the U.S. Embassy issued this very specific warning to all U.S. citizens to leave the gate, quote, immediately, to go back home because of this threat. Other European nations, other NATO nations also followed suit, telling all of their citizens to leave the gate.
Yeah. So, one, maybe two explosions, hearing different things. Looks like at least two explosions. One seems to be a suicide bomber that we know. They're reporting at least 3 U.S. soldiers were wounded. Many Afghans were wounded. How many of them were killed? This will be a fluid situation because there's also a firefight, report of a second explosion as well. So it is a nightmare, and the airport is now closed. And this means it's going to get ugly. This is a different world now. This is a different world. We are now in a position where the battle is a battle. This isn't an evacuation. This is a battle as we try to get as many people out of there, including our soldiers, as best we possibly can. And it's a nightmare. It is. And you got to think about what you have. You have tens of thousands of people converging on an area where they're desperate to get out of there, knowing full well what the threat is, which is you stay, you're probably going to die. So when you have tons of people there, it's safe to assume if you're going to do something that wants to get the world's attention, where are you going to go?
When you have large numbers of people gathered at one location, that is a soft target because somebody could filter in and set off a suicide vest. Somebody potentially could drive a car bomb vehicle in there as well. So a lot of this makes for a very enticing target for a terrorist who wants to create a big impact.
And that's a lot of what it is. And there's this ISIS-K. That's what they're the threats and the potential of what they were talking about was all about ISIS. Taliban want us out. We want to leave. They're pissed because we're taking people that they feel are infidels, people who are traitors to their cause. They want to deal with them in their own way. We want to get everybody out of there, including our people. And It is going to get uglier potentially. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And now the question is going to be, what if the airport's closed for good? What if the airport is done? They're not going to open it again. When will they open it? Because this kind of, the rest of the people we have to get out, what are we going to do? We're going to drive them out? You're going to drive through areas controlled by ISIS in some places, Taliban and others. You're going to put more people at risk? We're going to helicopter everybody out? I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. This is going to be ugly. And you got to think about this, too. You're on an airplane. Now you know what's taking place, right? You understand what's taking place. You understand what the risk was and what ISIS has done. And now you're flying planes out of there with several hundred people on them. They don't have a lot. People can't get to it. Things are virtually empty. But you're flying a plane out of there, and the fear now is, what if you shoot one down? What if they shoot one down? We've entered a whole new phase and still waiting to see what the president does. What do you have to say, Mr. President? What's your and by say, I mean not at a podium. What do you have to say? What is your reaction to this?
2 to 3 blasts, which included a suicide vest followed by a firefight in which we have extensive casualties. I'm also hearing that there were 3 Marines wounded, but their status right now is unknown.
So 3 Marines wounded. Any American casualties part of that? Any European casualties part of that? How many Afghans were there? How many people were still there? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Again, a nightmare. And this will be something that, as the world's watching this thing and they're watching the way that we've handled this thing. And you've got to be saying to yourself, probably can't feel good about the way we've handled this. It's hard to feel good about the way that we've handled this. We had opportunities over the last several weeks and months to get people out. Now, potentially the airport's closed. By the way, just to let you know about the military planes, they've been doing all kinds of stuff. They've been doing what they call corkscrew landings, sending out flares, worried about missile attacks. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Check us out across all our social media. Again, new phase that we've entered into now. Everybody's looking to see what the president's reaction is going to be. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We don't know very many details at the moment. The little we know is there's been confirmation from Pentagon spokesman John Kirby that there has been an attack. One of our colleagues from another network, Pakistani network, who's in Afghanistan at the moment, says that he had heard from eyewitnesses that it appears there was potentially a suicide attack.
Either that or a really bad driver. Jiminy freaking cricket. Looking at you, Biden, useless. Abso-freaking useless. That's what you are. Awful. This is on you. We could have been prepared months ago. If you're going to evacuate that many people, you know what you do? You get ready. You prepare for what may be coming. You know ISIS has been there for a while. You know the Taliban were doing stuff, but you're like, no way. Look what's going on over here. This is a you issue. They were telling you, bring extra troops in if we're going to do it like this. You ignored. ISIS is growing. Taliban's here. Yeah, they don't like each other. They'll let them kill each other after we're gone. Phenomenal. Let that go. Useless. Useless. Serious. It's a joke. It is a joke. And we're waiting to hear what he has to say. And again, saying isn't coming out and throwing out his gibberish. Saying is, what are your actions now? What's next, by the way, for the evacuations? What's next for those? Are we done evacuating? Is it possible we're done evacuating? It's possible. You've got the Taliban and ISIS who do not like each other. And this is a different ISIS. This isn't the ISIS we're used to. This is ISIS-K, kind of like an offshoot of them. They want to set something up there, and that was at the Koshana Valley or whatever, kind of have their own world, free of Iran, Iraq, Syria, and all that kind of stuff. This is where they want to operate and kind of have their own thing. We still have to get people out, and not just our people.
This would absolutely fit the pattern of the behavior of ISIS in Afghanistan. They have gone for large mass casualty events, and the situation that we saw down at Abbey Gate, if indeed that is exactly where it happened, for them would be an ideal environment.
Yeah. Lots of people congregating, all of them. Picture this, right, in a smaller thing. If you've ever seen World War Z, the part where everybody's trying to get up on the wall and get over because they're trying to get over the wall, they're trying to do these things. Picture that. At a smaller scale, a perfect place to do something awful, a perfect place to do something. The questions are going to be asked because Taliban is supposed to be patrolling the area, not allowing people in or out. How did this happen? Were they complicit in this? Because remember, you start killing Americans, you start killing Europeans, people are going to start asking some serious questions. And those serious questions, and I said this yesterday, I want you guys to understand this. These people, you said it. Yeah, these people, the Taliban, ISIS, they were born into war. They only ever know war and conflict. You cannot reason with them. You cannot bargain with them. They know one thing only. So to speak their language, you better figure out how much you're bringing.
The Taliban is obviously in charge of security out in town, and they either failed or were in compliance with this.
I don't know if they were in compliance because now the world's looking and going, okay, well, now we've escalated. This escalated quickly and it's gone to a new level. This escalated quickly and we're at a new position. This escalated quickly. We have 3 Marines, at least that we know of, that are injured. We have no idea how we're going to get the rest of the people out, not just counting our people.
It was already difficult. It was already dangerous, almost impossible for many people to get through. And this is going to have an impact, without a doubt, on the evacuation mission. It seems hard that you can continue to bring people safely through that gate, which was already a struggle, knowing that there are ISIS elements there intent on inflicting mass casualties.
Multiple explosions, gun battles, Americans feeling like they're being left over there, as well as Afghanis.
We're stranded at home. We can't get to the airport. When we try to get to the airport, we either get beaten up or we're afraid for our lives. For 4 days, 4 days, we didn't hear anything from anywhere. And then they're saying to go to the airport, but we're not being given clear guidance. They're saying one thing, and then the next thing they come and say something else. So you really exactly don't know what to do. There's a lot of miscommunication going on.
Yeah, miscommunication or no communication.
No, your emails are getting ignored. Or, I mean, imagine being stranded in a situation like this and not receiving anything for 4 days from the U.S. Embassy or the State Department.
People are pissed, people are angry, people are frustrated, and people are scared. They're scared. Because they are one knock away, one bullet away, one knife away from dying in the streets in front of their families, in front of their neighbors, by a bunch of savages who live like it's the 6th century. They want to enslave women. You know what they said yesterday? Women shouldn't leave the house because the Taliban men aren't trained on how to react to women. AKA, hey, let's go over it again. Here's the whiteboard. Let's talk about this. You see a woman. What do? Rape her? No. Shoot her? No. Okay, look over here. Things not to do. Rape, kill, wound, beat, shoot, murder, enslave. What don't you do? Rape her? No. You don't do any of these. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. None of these. You don't do it. Of all the things you do, anything else is a good answer. Let's all say this together. Ignore. Shoot her. No. Ignore. Are you sure? Yes. Chad, you're not being nice. No. Why should you? It's crazy. It is. This is where we're at. Oh, my God. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All that being said, we're fighting over things like, I don't know, whether or not children should wear masks to school. Dad last night, Dripping Springs, Texas.
On the way over here, I ran 3 stop signs and 4 red lights. I almost killed somebody out there. But by God, it's my roads too. So I have every right to drive as fast as I want to.
He's trying to prove a point. The point wasn't finished. Again, we're fighting over a mask, trying to figure out how do we keep our kids safe from a virus that they're going to survive, but we don't want them to get sick because they could spread it, and it's already a nightmare. And we're seeing the casualties in hospitals that are overworked. We're also seeing the casualties in business. We're seeing, just this insanity over a mask. Should we get a vaccine? Should we get something that the rest of the world would love to have, but we have so much of it, we're like, we should get a 3rd shot. And we're fighting over that. There's the argument right there. Oh, we're not done, though. So he said, hey, I drove through all this lights. I did all the stuff. It's my roads. I should be able to do whatever the heck I want.
At work, they make me wear this jacket. I hate it. They make me wear this shirt and tie. I hate it.
So he starts stripping. So the board meeting took a turn.
If you would mind putting your pants back on for a comment, that would be appreciated.
Standing there in his boxers. Our safety bubble is awesome. But it shows you, what a nightmare certain parts of the world are. Right now, you look at Joe Biden, and God bless him, say your prayers for him. I want my president to succeed. I do. I thought at first he was doing a hell of a job with the Delta virus, and I can't blame all this nightmare on him because you've got governors who are Republican who are pushing back, oh, don't get the vaccine, and don't get a mask, and da-da-da-da. And now they're like, get a vaccine, but you don't have to wear a mask, and at this point in time, it's spread in such a way. It's like, look, let's just lock everybody in those states, let it play itself out, and then we'll come back in a few weeks, find out who survives, and we'll just go. I can't blame it all on him, but he hadn't been helping much. Afghanistan, this lands at his feet. The border's a nightmare. We've got inflation. There's a lot of issues here. And he's going to have to start dealing with some of these things in ways he may not want to, but he has to address. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. MyPillow has Giza Dream Sheets. Long staple cotton grown in a small area in the Mediterranean. These things are sateen feeling. You're going to slide into them, feel amazing. They're breathable. They're incredible. They're proprietary technologies that makes these the absolute best sheets. Normally they're like $110. For you, $50. $49.99. Get a 6-day money-back guarantee. They got different sizes, different colors to choose from. And when I mean cool, comfortable, and breathable, that's exactly what they are. So your night's sleep is going to be enhanced while you're at MyPillow.com using that promo code Benson, take a look around at all of the other great, deep discounts they have on everything. From the MyPillow itself to the Giza Dream Sheets, the towels, you name it, they've got it. Take advantage of it now. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Saves you big. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, man!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
This is exactly what administration officials feared. It's what Joe Biden himself has said was possible and was the risk of any prolonged U.S. presence. But the fact that this is happening before August 31st, before that now agreed upon deadline for U.S. troop withdrawal, is troubling, to say the least.
People are looking. What's your next step? What's your next step, Mr. President? What are we going to hear from him today? And I don't. Those press conferences, you get nothing out of him. He comes out and he throws out a bunch of crap, and you find very little out about any of the stuff, but the usual stuff that people throw out. It's like, well, we knew there was a possibility that this might happen, that ISIS-K is there, and I've been warning people of this. Somebody said, oh, you keep saying this, somebody tweeted at me, you keep saying that this is going to be something that's going to haunt him. We don't need to spend another $1 trillion staying there. Nobody's arguing about whether or not we should leave. We had no clear directive. Right? They're not arguing that. It's the way you do things. And it's the way this is done. That's what people are asking questions about. Ignoring the intelligence, which is what he did. And by the way, you don't have to be a genius to realize what the Taliban was going to do. Ignoring all of that and not beefing up your presence to make sure that you got everybody out is the issue. So yes, on this is going to hurt him. Absolutely. How can it not? How can you not? You got a second explosion at a hotel, civilian casualties. You've got wounded soldiers. How bad are they wounded? These are all very real questions that we should be asking is, what's the next move? But is there a failure within the administration to realize what might have happened? Yeah. And I know he's going to say, well, ISIS-K, we knew this could be a possibility. And the question is being asked about the Taliban. Because in theory, the Taliban is controlling everything there. Whose issue was this? Was it their complicity? They let somebody through? Was it incompetence? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. I'm always amazed. I was like, well, we really, this isn't really going to hurt. No, this is going to hurt. Again, you can quit your job, right? But, hey, I quit my job, then I burned the place down. Hey, quit it. It's the way you did it. That was an issue, right? This was an issue. You burned everything down, and then you're like, oh, those were our planes. Those were our things. This is our stuff. We left them. Oh, my goodness. We didn't think this thing through. No. You knew you wanted to get out in May. We all wanted to be out of there. There was no clear reason for us to be there that anybody could actually articulate and sell to the American people So getting out. We're supposed to be out in May. We push it out to August. Over those 3 months, right? May, June, July, into August. So let's say 3 solid months. You could have been working on visas, speaking to several different nations in a way of who are you going to take? How many can you take? Where can we resettle? While slowly pulling people out. But it felt like when you hear them talk, they had no idea that this was going to take place the way it did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. A lot of stuff still to get to with this. It's crazy. It's chaos. It's Afghanistan. Woo! Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You have a very narrow canal and it leads to one entrance through the gate. There are thousands and thousands of people there, cheek by jowl, all desperately clamoring to try and get through, waving their papers, waving their passports. They're even stood knee-deep in the sewage there. Anyone who is able to get inside that crowd and detonate an explosive device is likely to have inflicted significant numbers of casualties.
Yeah. So, second explosion, gunfight. ISIS-K seems to be the perpetrator of this. If you don't know who ISIS-K is, it's kind of an offshoot of ISIS.
It became, in the words of, I think, the British Armed Forces Minister, it was very, very credible warning of an imminent threat from ISIS-K. It's basically just a branch of ISIS that's operated in the country. They did issue a message earlier in that last week saying because there was cooperation going on between the Taliban and the Americans that they saw both as a target.
Yeah, by the way, they're sworn enemies. The Taliban wants nothing to do with ISIS. That was one of the things that Trump talked about. Let them kill each other. That's what they want to do. If we have to go back in there because you let somebody set up shop, let them kill each other. Let them run around shooting and kill each other. How bad's ISIS-K? They like killing babies, and they raise their children and the youngsters, as they call them, killer cubs. Little ones. Scary. So, a lot of people are saying, well, how did this happen? Because doesn't ISIS control everything around there? Yeah, they do. They control everything around there. And the thought process is no Afghanis were getting in. No, really nobody was supposed to get in and out and around the airport. They were shutting everything down. And if you were getting in and out, there were certain things that you had to comply with. Usually if you're a foreign national in some way, shape, or form and you're leaving the country, you're probably going to get through. If you're an Afghani, chances of you getting through are probably slim to none in certain areas.
The Taliban is obviously in charge of security out in town, and they either failed or were in compliance with this.
Yeah, I don't think they were in compliance at all. Here's what the Taliban want. They want that country for itself so it can have the dream of the 6th century realized with modern weapons. They want to rule with an iron fist, but they want to be recognized by the world, and they don't want anybody else coming in and ruining their party where something could leave that country, get essentially traced back to them, and then have to pay a price. And let's be honest, at some point in time, the price isn't going to be boots on the ground. Take that forever you want it. But at some point in time, you got to go, you can't deal with people who only know fighting. You can't deal with people who have a distrust for one another, let alone a distrust from anything in the West. And the only language they speak is fighting. That's it. They're not speaking anything else. You're not getting a kinder, gentler Taliban. You're not getting a Taliban that's out there going, hey, you know what? I definitely think we should get these ladies all educated up. I definitely think we should get them all, driving around, living their lives, shopping, having fun, getting them on the gram. No, you're not getting that. You're getting a modern look at the 6th century. It's kind of what you're getting. Instead of rocks, they've got guns, bullets. Oh, yeah, and we also left them an Air Force. That's what we've done. 5,200 soldiers currently in and around the airport on the tarmac. They're still trying to get some planes and people out of there. I don't know what that's going to look like. It was already becoming tougher. They were doing corkscrew maneuvers. They were shooting out flares, trying to avoid missiles. And that was the next thought, is that this ISIS-K was going to shoot a plane out of the sky, which, that all lands where? It'll land on the ground in Afghanistan, but it's all going to land at the feet of the Taliban. So you've got people injured at a second explosion at a hotel. You've got civilians that have been, most likely, we're going to find out that the civilians have been killed. We've got 3, as we know right now, soldiers that are injured. Outside of that, we have no idea if there was any other foreign nationals that were injured. There's firefights going on, and it's chaos. Because it's not like everybody's wearing special uniforms. It's like, oh, yeah, you there you are, and there you are, and you're wearing a flag of this, and no, it's not that. Everybody's kind of running around, all blending into each other. They've got the beards. They've got guns. And they're shooting. We knew this was a possibility. Well, that possibility's arrived. What happens from here? How many people are over there that are foreign nationals? Not just us, but our allies who have helped fight this war for 2 decades. What's that look like for them? And what's Biden's response going to be? I think the world's wanting to find out what that's going to be. Are you going to have a real response? Is it going to be a response of, well, we knew this could possibly happen?
If they attack the checkpoint, they're trying to cause military casualties. If they attack the Barron Hotel, they're trying to cause civilian casualties, but well coordinated, near simultaneously detonated, and perhaps with some gunfire to follow it up.
Yep. Ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. While that's going on, we're battling in a different way. We're fighting each other. There's like, should you wear a mask? Should you not wear a mask? Should your kid get vaxxed? Should they not get vaxxed? Should they? Shouldn't they? What's the science say? What doesn't it say? That's the chaos that we're dealing with. I mean, think about what we're dealing with compared to what so much of the rest of the world's dealing with. Dr. Elstrom.
Can you explain whether or not it is okay for all 12-year-olds to get the vaccine?
The Pfizer vaccine now has been actually licensed for 15 years of age and older. The 12 to 15-year-old age group is one that is approved emergency use authorization, for which we expect full approval to come in the near days ahead. When we get a bit below that, then the doses are going to start reducing some. The only side effect that those vaccines have had has been a type of inflammation around the heart called myocarditis. It's very, very rare, and it's typically very mild.
Yeah, but nobody wants to hear that. But the reality is this is, this is what we're talking about at this moment in time. We've got parents stripping down butt naked, arguing at school board meetings. This is great. Guy goes from talking about how fast he drove his car and all the laws he broke to get there because, he's allowed to do that, and trying to prove a point about, hey, why not, right? If you can do this, why can't you, why should you be forced to do anything else? To the point where once he starts doing that, talks about it doesn't like his jacket, doesn't like the tie, doesn't like his pants.
At work, they make me wear this jacket. I hate it.
Oh, we hate that jacket. You don't look good in that.
They make me wear this shirt and tie. I hate it.
All right. Well, then take it all off. Oh, he did, kids. Oh, he did.
If you would mind putting your pants back on for a comment, that would be appreciated.
Our stuff is so petty. Chad, it's not petty. We're all about protecting our freedoms. Yeah. Not saying we don't have freedoms. With freedoms come what? Great responsibility. We all want to get to the same place. Nobody wants to wear these damn masks. We don't want our schools closing every other week. We don't want to sit on on an airplane for 10 hours. 5 hours, 2.5 hours in the airport, right? Driving there, you get there, and you're going to fly across country to New York or to Florida or somewhere like that. You got a 4-hour, 5-hour flight. You're going to be an hour in the airport on the other side. The mask is on the entire time, minus eating and drinking, and you're frustrated. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that, but that's where we are. That's what we're dealing with. And, it's a frustrating thing. You've got businesses having to make decisions now based on not selling their widget, based on, okay, what's best that's going to keep my place open, but knowing full well the minute that I do something that some part of the community is no longer going to like me because they're going to see me as either a person who is the death cult because I'm not requiring certain things, or I'm subservient to the man and they're never going to buy their products from me, and it is frustrating. And then we've got that data thing, which seems to get in the way of everything.
Not one person, this is an important number, not one person in this country has died as a result of the 185 million people who have received the vaccine. I wish aspirin had a safety profile that good. And so we have to emphasize these vaccines are incredibly safe and they are incredibly effective. And the worst thing you want to do is watch your child in an ICU struggle to make it to the next day.
Yeah. Now, this thing isn't killing any more children. It's just affecting a lot more children. And children are surviving this thing. But, yeah, like everything else, the net is so much wider. It's easier to catch. It's frustrating for a lot of people. We need to put our pettiness aside, figure out how we can deal with this thing. But there are people out there that it doesn't matter what you do. They're going to ask a question. Is this thing safe? It's very safe. Yeah, well, I heard. Who'd you hear it from? I know somebody. Was it you? No, it wasn't me. But I know somebody who knows somebody. Okay. Can you find me that report? Right? Because if that happened to somebody, shouldn't we see it? Shouldn't they be? Well, that's what I heard. Saw it on the internet. All want to get to the same place. We're not getting there because we're too busy fighting each other to get there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Raycon, best earbuds around. Wear my Raycons all the time. We're doing a lot of work today. I'll have my Raycons on. They're charged up. I got my little case. Just throw them in there. So you charge your case up, right? So it comes this little case. You get your Raycons. Best earbuds, no stems, no wires, easy to charge up. The case will give you up to 4 full charges. So you're not tethered to something. Pop them in, do my stuff. Rarely, are they, they always say, it gives you, 6 hours of talk time. It seems to go on forever. Rarely do I have to charge these things, it seems like. I'll get through a couple of rounds of golf, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. No stems, no wires, 45-day happiness guarantee. They start under $70. If you want the best earbuds around, do not hesitate to go to buyraycon.com/Chad and grab yourself some Raycons. You will not be disappointed. The noise isolating fit, the control, the sound, the design, second to none. Buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
We're stranded at home. We can't get to the airport. When we try to get to the airport, we either get beaten up or we're afraid for our lives. For 4 days, 4 days, we didn't hear anything from anywhere. And then they're saying to go to the airport, but we're not being given clear guidance. They're saying one thing, and then the next thing they come and say something else. So you really exactly don't know what to do. There's a lot of miscommunication going on.
Yeah, well, You know, I mean, we're talking about vaccines. We're talking about masks, talking about this. These are people that are stuck in a place that is war-torn, I don't know, since forever, trying to get out. It's an absolute mess. And then you throw ISIS in the mix. And what do you have? You have a recipe for disaster. We're supposed to be out of there on the 31st. I will let you guys know. That is Tuesday. Right? So you have today, but it's already pretty much tomorrow over there. Right? Dark. So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You got about 4.5 days or so. To not just get us out. Do all we can to get the people out that helped us and risked everything, as well as other foreign nationals who fought alongside us and helped us. And now you throw ISIS in the mix. It is a disaster. And it's going to potentially get worse. People are looking and asking, what's the next move? What is the next move from the president? What are you going to do? How do you react to this? What happens with the evacuations, which were already tricky?
It was already difficult. It was already dangerous, almost impossible for many people to get through. And this is going to have an impact, without a doubt, on the evacuation mission. It seems hard that you can continue to bring people safely through that gate, which was already a struggle, knowing that there are ISIS elements there intent on inflicting mass casualties.
So you have ISIS-K, bloodthirsty, awful, also a big believer in the 6th century. You have the Taliban. They're mortal enemies. They want nothing to do with each other. You've got 2 explosions. What they're saying is a complex attack that took place. 2 separate bombs going off nearly identical time. One suicide vest, maybe. The other one driving a car. You think about that for a second. And people say, you know, we should be in conversations. That's what I said the other day. We need to be sitting down talking. If you are willing to strap a bomb to your body, if you're willing to tell people inside of the world of which you live that you are going to go see Allah, and in doing so, he's going to award you all of these great gifts. Here's the sacrifice you need to make as a martyr. You need to strap this to your body, go out into a area of which there is a lot of people who have done nothing to you, and blow yourself up, and people gladly do it. That's scary. You're probably not having a conversation the way that you think. Probably not. It'll be interesting next couple days. The weekend's going to be interesting. And is the Taliban going to push back? Are they going to go on the offensive and clear out ISIS? That's a question because, again, they're mortal enemies. They want nothing to do with one another. ISIS wants to have a certain area for itself. They want to have essentially their own homeland. They're a little bit more modern. They live like it's the 7th century. The other ones live like it's the 6th century. It's not very nice, Chad. And think about this. If you're over there in Afghanistan, think about the desperation. If you have a child, if you understand the brutality that's coming, if you have a young girl, of what's coming and what you're facing, the impending doom, and maybe you thought, oh, help out the Americans. I don't believe in this. I can't stand this group of people. They have taken Islam and they've ruined it. They've spun it because they're more gangster and killers than they are religious leaders. And you know what's coming. That's why people are willing, in the face of potential suicide bombers, to stand in a group of people desperate to get the hell out of there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. You guys have a good day? Oh, thank goodness. I see Friday. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.